Hi and welcome everyone. This is the Hobo Prepper. I am Friar Tuck. Good to see you guys. All right, as you guys can see, I'm in a good mood. That's because I've gotten some sleep. My tooth is hurting, but not nearly as bad. I did not go off to work this morning because I had a gut feeling that something was going to happen to my stuff, and so I needed to keep an eye on it. And you know, I'm lucky I listened to my gut feeling, because quite frankly, if you don't listen to your gut feelings, especially out here, those instincts, sometimes they may seem paranoid, but those instincts are kind of what will save your gear and keep you safe, is by listening to that gut feeling. But today, actually, what I'm going to be talking about is the homeless industrial complex. Okay, so but before I get into that, I want to say thank you to any of my new subscribers. If you haven't already hit that subscribe button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, or that bell notification, so that you can see all the videos that I put out. I try and put one out at least once a day. Sometimes I skip just because I need a break or I'm really busy. But anyways, what I do is I document my lifestyle as a homeless nomad. I mean, that's the simple way to put it. Also called a hobo prepper. You can call me a rubber tramp, or you can call me a nomad. So, you know, you'll be able to not only see me when I talk about topics about once I'm in cities and in camps and stuff like that, and talk about the situation that's going on, how it's getting better, how it's getting worse, or, when I'm on the road, I'm on my bike, and you get to see some awesome footage of stuff like that. And if you want to get a more in-depth conversation with me, you can always come on over to Patreon, and all those links are down in the description if you want to take a look at everything there. So let's get into the topic. So what is the homeless industrial complex? Essentially, the way that the system is set up to keep you homeless. Now, there's a big push to get people off the streets. So there are other ways in which they are able to keep the homeless population at the same or growing, because you got to realize that this is a big business, just like the military, because you have places like you have not-for-profits. These not-for-profits, most of their money goes top heavy. Very little of it actually makes it down to the individual or down to the homeless people. I mean, when you're getting billions of dollars and you only put millions of dollars out, there's a big thing. There's a lot of questions that we have, but there are many institutions that are actually designed to keep you homeless. And after the whole George Floyd thing, I will tell you that it has made life for the homeless a little bit easier, in the sense that that the cops are kind of keeping more of a hands-off approach. They're actually taking it's a little bit better. That's all I can say, because I mean, after dealing with Gainesville PD and dealing with Bluntstown PD and having to deal with the local sheriffs around here and stuff like that, there is a change. But the way that it used to be is that so you as a homeless person are what is considered low-hanging fruit to the to the police, okay? Because you've always got drugs on you, which means they can get you for a possession charge. You're either that, or you're intoxicated, which then they can get you for a public intoxication. Either that, or you're on probation and they feel like harassing you or accosting you in one form or fashion. Because what they're looking for is they're looking to take you to jail. Because the thing is once you get out of jail, what do? If you've got nowhere to go, if you've lost everything to begin with, well, they're going to throw you back in here. And, then they're going to put you into a recovery program, or maybe a court mandated recovery program, either when you're in jail or you're out of jail. Okay. And when that happens, I mean, there's a 95% fail rate, so only 5% of people actually get it, because they're being forced. It's not their choice to do it. It is the government telling them, okay, we've made this choice for you, now you got to follow through on it. And then when you don't follow through on a choice that we want you to follow through on, well, then we're just going to keep penalizing you and throwing you back in jail. And all it's doing is it's institutionalizing. So when I was in LA, I think I spent 6 days in a solitary confinement cell. Anytime I go to jail, jail because of how my panic attacks are. I'm one of the lucky ones. I get solitary confinement. I don't go into general population, which is kind of nice. But also, the longest I've been to jail is 2 weeks. Okay, and that was for something that I didn't even do. You know, but the process is like this. You know, when you're in there, the way that system, the way that the design is there, it's meant to have a psychological impact on you, just in the design. And so some people, especially people that are easily you can easily put impressions on, or that you can easily manipulate, or people that are weak-minded, what ends up happening is, over those short periods of time, you know, it will make you go mad. It will kind of heighten your anger, because you get to feel all of the anger that's going on around there. And you know, it's something that is it's, until you've experienced it, you wouldn't know what I'm talking about, just for the fact that, you know, there are some things in life that I could tell you about it all I want, but until you've been through it, you wouldn't know what I'm talking about. You know, and so it's just, you know, if you've been locked up for more than like 3 or 4 days, you would probably know what I'm talking about, because, you know, the 3 or 4 days, you know, a Dewey, or, you know, you're out real quick, stuff like that. But most of the time, you know, especially with the fact that, you know, you were homeless to begin with, so they're not going to let you out. At least they didn't used to. Now they do. You know, and you are just being churned in such a way that because once you get out of there, you go into a shelter, you're going to get to, it's just basically you leave jail and go back to jail, but instead you're outside of jail, in jail. And you know, the way that a place like Grace Marketplace, I will say that is the one thing that I didn't realize until after I left, how big of a deal that was, because of how I was treated in other places. Okay, so the other part of the homeless industrial complex is that, you know, I'll tell you a story of me when I was in San Francisco. I was trying to get up on my feet. I was going to college, and I was actually in school for network administration. So I was going to a vocational technical school so that I could become a network administrator, make enough money, get on my feet, right? And I was in the shelter system, and you're only allowed to make like $465 a month. Okay, anything over that, then they take your shelter bed away from you, or you have to go find somewhere and pay to be in there. Okay, well, my first month of my federal work study, because when you're in school, they will let you go to work part-time, which is part of what I had to do in the first place. I made $470. I was kicked out of the shelter that night. They immediately took my bed, took everything. Well, these things like this, for people that are actually look like they're trying to get up and get on their feet, the system is going to do whatever it can to actually pull you back down. This is what happened to me, is very common, and it happens in various ways throughout the social services system. It's another part of the reason why I'm not big on on dealing with social services, is because, you know, the strings that are attached, they give it to you just long enough for you to actually have hope, and then they take it away from you. And this has happened to me on multiple occasions for multiple different things. I was in a shelter, I was doing everything I was supposed to, and I went and I got a job like I was supposed to, and you know, they were supposed to work with me, but instead of working with me, they said, well, you got to quit your job and abide by this schedule, or you've got to leave. And so I chose to leave. And yeah, that didn't end well for me, because I was right back where I was, because, you know, anytime it seems like you're going to get up on your feet, they want to knock you down in one form or fashion. So you see a lot of these people that have been out here for years, either they finally just submitted, and you might want to take a moment and sit back and ask them, and, you know, and get an opportunity to to find out like how they've had opportunities to get up on their feet, and how those have been taken away by social services. You know, if you don't believe me, ask a homeless person. You know, sit down, get to know them. You know, they're not going to just be upfront and honest with you to begin with. So, you know, so how would you, if you want to be able to get away from the homeless industrial complex, and the way that not only do they create the situations for you to be homeless, but then put you in situations where it's kind of hard but you're going to end up going right back to where you started in the first place. It's once a person becomes homeless, they will become homeless one or two more times if they manage to get out. And sometimes, you know, just like me, chronically for 22 years now. Okay. And so it's something that because of the psychological effect that happens out here, it's really hard. Not just, you know, getting a job and getting a place, that's the easy part. Okay, it's undoing all the psychological damage that gets done to you out here, that keeps you out here and ensures that you'll never get off. And I mean, you got to be really strong to get off. And I mean, I did it for almost 10 years. But for you to be able to kind of do your part without contributing to this complex, you know, this is why I keep telling you guys, and you guys have heard me say it 100 times, I'll say it 100 more times, you know, get to know your local homeless. Just find one homeless person that you like, or that looks pleasant enough to you. And be very careful. If you're approaching a female, they're going to be a lot more skeptical and a lot more apprehensive. And they are dangerous. Be careful. They can be dangerous. So, you know, if you're a guy approaching a female, now if you're a female approaching a female, that's a different thing. But as a guy, you should stick to helping out guys. As a woman, you should go and help out the ladies. Okay. You know, because you got to be, you kind of got to, it's just a safety thing. If you're going to actually help out the homeless, get to know them. Okay. So you take the time, you get to know them, you understand what their needs are, what opportunities they have, you know, and being their friend. You know, it doesn't mean you're going to be their friend for as long as they're homeless. No, what I'm saying is be their friend for the whole time, because you will be that one person that they will know not only when they were on the streets, but when they're off the streets. And that might be you might be that one person that helps them straighten out their mental stuff that they've got going on from all the times that they've been out here, or for the length of time that they've been out here, to the point where, you know, you might be able to help them through some of this stuff. Don't bring religion into it. Religion generally screws things up. You know, just use common sense. Use knowledge and wisdom that you've acquired, and it doesn't have to be dogmatic. Now, I know you don't understand it as the house community, but those of us that have been out here for a long time, when we see religious organizations, at least from my experiences, I see them as predators. Okay, and you never know, you know. And so when people come at me and start talking God and Jesus, I look at them as potential danger. Okay, and there are a lot of Christian and other religious groups that take advantage of the homeless, because there's nothing that can happen to them. You know, we might as well be prisoners in the first place, because we're just prisoners outside, where everybody can see us. Okay, so all right, guys, I hope that this kind of helped enlighten you a little bit. But become a friend, figure out what it is that they actually need. You know, like with Puckett. I can't get him to go anywhere, but on the other hand, I can be his friend. I can root with him. I can get him to slow down on what he's doing. I can be his confidant. I can be his friend, and I'm his friend regardless of whether he's high or he's sober. But I'm going to encourage him to do better for himself, to take care of himself, to realize his age and those things, because, you know, it has to be his choice. But by being that person that's there rooting for that person before they start rooting for themselves, that could go a long way, especially if you want to help people out of their addiction. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to work, but, you know, just to be there. Now, it doesn't mean you give them money when they're in their addiction either. You don't want to enable them. You know, buy them a can of dip every once in a while. You know what I mean? All right, so guys, you know how to help out the channel. Like, subscribe, share. you know, hit the bell notification, come on over to Patreon, be part of my super friends, or you can go through my affiliate links, or you can leave a tip in the tip jar. Either way, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.